Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today I want to create a nice Hoth display using a few Lego sets that are out on shelves either right now or one of them will come out in just a few weeks, and see how we can work it. A bit similar, some of you may remember a few weeks, like a week or so ago, we did the same thing with our Ahsoka display, creating a Peridia battle using the Star Destroyer, a few battle packs, and the Duel on Peridia playset. It's just down here. I've still got that one kept up. And as Lego fans, we all know the fun doesn't stop when the building ends. So creating these displays has been a blast. I might even do one for the Clone Wars. We've had a few Clone Wars sets, or we could go back and do Kamino, because that's what started this entire line of thought for me. But we have a problem with a few of the new Hoth Star Wars sets. Perhaps the most important first problem we've got to deal with is the fact, and no, it's not the green leg, that is a Master Mouldie special, we are keeping that green leg, but it's actually the fact that this ATST isn't from Hoth at all. Any of you that have picked up the UCS set, which first off, crazy that we've got not one, not two, but 3 UCS sets this year, including the Death Star, totaling £1,500. That is a lot of money to be spending on Legos. But the minifigure that comes with the ATST is actually the pilot from Return of the Jedi. I think they could have included both. There's 2 seats inside the ATST, and that's ample space to fit not 1, not 2, but you could probably even squeeze a 3rd minifigure in there, especially getting someone like Chewie looking out the top. And whilst we're here, let's just appreciate the fact that this UCS set, much like a few of the others, not all of them have it, but does have a few play features. The rocket that can fire. You could close the lids for Hoth because obviously they don't want any snow getting in. So that'll be the first change and perhaps the only change we make to the actual build of this set. But the minifigure is also just as important. So I'm taking this one from the Hoth ATST that we gave joints to the legs to earlier this year. Again, that was a really fun project. A lot of Hoth themed builds this year that we've been modifying. And for now, we will stand them on the display plaque, but they will be going in the ATST shortly. The main problem isn't to do with the minifigures. None of the sets that we're using today have any minifigures, but yesterday I did put out a video going over my CMF, my 12 collectible minifigures from Empire Strikes Back, and we'll be working as many of those as we can into today's video. I improved a few minifigures that Lego made quite a while back and really do need an updated minifigure. Maybe a CMF would have been perfect. Still waiting on it for Star Wars, but the biggest issue with some of the newer sets comes down to their scale. How big these ships are in comparison to each other. This is a beautiful ship because it is minifigure scale, and you know we love our minifigure scale here on the channel. 145, which adds up to the height of a minifigure being 180 centimeters, which is very important for those stormtroopers. They have to be 180 centimeters. Vader needs like a few plates under his feet. I think even Chewie's too short in that scale, and characters like Yoda are way too big. Again, there's another video on the channel that goes over the scales of a lot of the popular original trilogy characters if you are interested in that. But this ATST right here shouldn't be this big. In fact, it should actually be about this tall in response to the Snowspeeder being as big as it is, which isn't a problem. This really isn't a problem. The ATST being a little bigger. There is a few creators now on the platform that have a few different scales which kind of match up a bit to Legos, and they call it playset scale. As long as bigger ships are bigger, smaller ships are smaller, it works for me. We're not going to be modifying this and breaking it down trying to build a little playset. That's already been done. But there is another set that we'll get to right at the end that just doesn't work with this size. Anyway, when we built this Force Burner Snowspeeder, I also built one in the regular color of gray with a few orange accents on it, which is what we see flying around. So my aim for this display is to use this as a crashed burning speeder, and then to add this one flying. Maybe we can get that flying up here away from the ATST and the crashed burning one down here where the plaque stands. I'm thinking something like this, so it looks like the snowspeeder's doing a run, maybe even attaching a bit of thread to the back of the snowspeeder to that gun and getting it hooked onto the leg. That would be really cool. Plenty of studs to work with on that leg, and the stud shooter on the back means that if I find one of those ropes that connects two studs, we can totally get that to work. All right. So I haven't managed to find any of the ropes with the studs on either end. I might own a short one. I'm not sure I own one of the ones long enough for this mock. So I'm going to mock together my own little wire and see what I come up with. I'm thinking what we could do is take some of that rope that we use, that totally official Lego rope. It had a Lego sticker on it. I don't know how you get more official than that. We used it for R2-D2 and we used it for something else recently. It'll come to me in a sec, I'm sure. And tie it around two of these studs with the holes in them. And then we've got our own element that we can make a custom length dependent what we need to tie the legs of the AT-ST. The inspiration behind this display, I have to admit, does come from Hamleys. Here we have our Lego thread that I'll be using, because when we went to the Disney store, as part of that video, we stopped off at Hamleys just beforehand, and all of their displays looked so good. They had a ton of different rock models and bits of, I'm sure, like foam and colored elements underneath the Lego sets that just looked so good. And that's what I'm going for this Hoth display. I do want to get a custom base in there as well as all these sets. There we go, the first Lego stud has been threaded. Wouldn't make a bad necklace, or like a friendship bracelet sort of thing with a bunch of these studs connected. And hopefully I can pull it off half as well as Hamleys did. Because with Peridia, we sort of sat a bunch of the sets on the shelf, and the tower is meant to be coming up out of the ground. Maybe we could have built it up a little bit more, but in terms of the floating Star Destroyer, the best we've got is to add a few bricks underneath it and call it a day. There's not much we can build in terms of air and emptiness. So for this display, I want to go all in on the Hoth terrain, get it looking as snowy as we can, and I think I have the perfect pieces for it. But first, let's go attach our new Lego thread, totally official Lego thread, maybe, to the display. I'm not sure how well this comes across on the camera, but we do have the bit of thread connecting from the leg of the AT-ST all the way up to the gunner of the snowspeeder. And we will need to add some pilots. I'm thinking maybe a Luke minifigure in the front, and we'll just hide another pilot at the back. I'll try and match it up so that we've got characters that do fit the scene. And then this snowspeeder here could perhaps have the lid open just a little bit so you get to see inside, and a character running away or someone that has run away, and then we'll fill the back in with a few different snow troopers and other minifigures that fit the scene. But like I said, I have the perfect piece to create the snow, because let's take you back to last Christmas, unboxing a ton of the decks, and especially the old ones that perhaps have been passed down through family generations, always have a bit of polystyrene. Now, I've already got this everywhere and I haven't even started work on the base, but I have this box of a Star Wars clock. I haven't shown it off yet. Really cool Star Wars clock I got last Christmas, and it came with two polystyrene sheets that sandwiched it in, a few holes in the middle that I'll use one of the sheets to patch up, and then we can build up the terrain. I'm thinking adding a bit more snow for the crash speeder where it's, you know, piled up behind it, dig that in just a little bit and keep most of the terrain flat. I don't want to go too crazy because Hoth is like a barren wasteland of snow, but add a few little bits here and there just to spice up the scene. And also I was thinking about that snow speeder with the pilot maybe escaping, kind of like Luke, but most pilots aren't going to be running towards the closest AT-AT. They're going to be running home, so maybe we can add some little stamps of minifigure legs where it has legged it as soon as it crashed, and we'll let this one escape. Although, there are two pilots in a snowspeeder, maybe we only add one set of legs. This is what the display looks like before we modified anything. We've got the AT-ST and the two snowspeeders The fourth set is pending, but we'll add that last because I'm not sure we'll get it to work just as well. And here is the display with the polystyrene. I mean, the snow, totally snow. Managed to get it fixed in a cube. A few minifigures added as well, which we'll be taking a little look at. Of course, had to put Luke in the cockpit, taking down the AT-ST. There's a better look at the thread that's holding the snowspeeder to the giant AT-ST, by the way. This thing is like 1.5 times the size to scale, which would be terrifying, seeing one of the smaller chicken walkers and then seeing this thing. The guy on the top should probably have his goggles down whilst he's sticking his head out, but I don't have a helmet that doesn't have that awesome printing, so I guess he's just looking out, seeing how much longer, how far. Are we there yet? We have this snowspeeder, which does have the cockpit slightly open, so we can get a peek in there. And the pilot did make it out. Who knows? Maybe the co-pilot just followed in the tracks to hide their numbers, Tusken Raider style. But this guy wasn't as lucky. There is a set of footprints that are coming towards us that end under the foot of the AT-ST. Hopefully that guy managed to learn to fly or Jedi jump their way out of there. A few more tracks as well. My favourite are these ones that come all the way down and then come back to cut across the corner, like they realized base was that way instead of that way. My favorite story. And then we got behind Luke, Dak Router is the co-pilot he has on Hoth, and you can tell it's him by the helmet. It only has those 2 blue Rebel emblems, perhaps a fairly new pilot, so they stuck him with a guy with the most plot armor in like the original trilogy in its entirety. I wonder who Wedge got as well. There's a few snowtroopers back here, and I do want to point out how I've managed to stand these down, because I have taken it from cake candles. Cake candles always have this little stick that goes into the cake. You don't want to ruin it too much, but you want them to be nice and firm. So I've attached a white stud, which is hidden on the bottom of all these troopers' feet, and then added a Lego wand from Harry Potter into the underside of that. The wands and rangefinders we have so many of. Rangefinders we use in as antennas, and now wands are used to hold minifigures in place. That also means, like that second trooper in there, we can get there mid-step and don't need to have any stud connection to the base. So overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. You can see the snow building up behind the crashed snowspeeder, and there's a few little uneven bits as you would normally get with snowfall, perhaps some rocks underneath those you'd have to be careful of, but I'm really happy with how this came out. Definitely think this is an improvement to the other one. I wish I had the UCS AT-AT to stand at the back and enough space. Maybe would cut off the back legs and hang it on the wall so that I could get Luke with his lightsaber to light up. But, well, let's take a look at the AT-AT. As of October 1st, which is just after this video comes out, just after, it's like the 5th as I'm recording this, it's a little bit after this video comes out, we are getting a brand new gingerbread AT-AT, and I don't have the set, I'm not a part of LAN, and I have no desire to try and find it that early, but I can build it myself, and better yet, recolor it to be the cutest AT-AT I have ever seen. And I love the playset one, which was a bit smaller than minifigure scale, but the only problem with this AT-AT is it just doesn't fit into our model really at all. I mean, look at the size of it. It's the height of this snow speeder here. It's pretty much the width of one as well, if you were to size these up. Not a lot of space on the inside. So what I was gonna do is try to whack it just at the back, make it seem like the AT-AT is miles away, and this doesn't work because the shelf doesn't have that much depth. If my shelf went about a meter back, we could whack this little guy in the background and make it look like it's just really far away on the horizon, as they do at the start of the Hoth battle, when we see like the 6 AT-ATs and then they superimpose all the robot chickens later on. But I don't think this is going to work for that. So I am still going to make a video on this. I think this is a super cute model, and I'd love to get the gingerbread one as well. I'm still planning, though we've built it, still planning on picking that up October 1st or maybe later on towards Christmas. There might be a few good sales or gift with purchases, but that is all for today. Stay tuned for that video tomorrow, and let me know what you think of the display in the comments. Till then, may the bricks be with you, always. No, I forgot a droid. There we go. That's better.